Welcome everybody, and before I start I'd like to acknowledge the IT problems that we had and deeply thank you for your patience and your understanding as we resolve the issues. It's wonderful to see everybody online now. If you have any further IT problems, maybe with sound, you can contact our IT support person Jax. If you click on the chat room option, you'll be able to send him a private message. Just scroll down the list of people here and you'll see IT support. You might also want to put your Zoom app onto full screen, and you can toggle between the speaker view and the gallery view. And the gallery view will mean that you can see everybody that's here today, and there'll be many screens that you can move through. Whatever screen view you choose, it won't affect anybody else's view. We'd like to invite you to give your full attention to being here online for the ceremony. And in that light, if you could please turn off your mobile phone and turn it face down onto the tabletop so that you're not distracted by any messages coming in. If we could also ask you to refrain from eating or drinking casually throughout the ceremony, and if you do need to move about, if you could please turn off your video so as not to distract the other guests. Thank you. So just taking a moment to ensure you're sitting comfortably. Some of you may have been busy before coming online or had unexpected challenges to get online. So if it feels right for you, taking a deep breath and settling into being here as Olivia's family, friends and community. On behalf of Olivia's family, I'd like to welcome you and thank you for being here at this celebration of Olivia's life and her farewell ceremony. You come together to express the enormous love that you felt for Olivia, and also to acknowledge the deep feelings of loss and grief from her sudden and unexpected death. This morning there will be space for laughing and also for crying, for sharing memories and stories, and for offering and receiving comfort and reassurance that despite the physical distance, we are close in each other's presence. My name is Wendy Haynes, and I'm the family celebrant for today's ceremony. We'd like to honour the traditional lands of the First Nation people around the world and pay respect to the custodians, the elders past, present, and those emerging. We are gathered from around the world, from the US, Australia, New Zealand, and also in Europe. Simon would like to take this moment to honour his mum, Janice, who died 8 years ago, just before he moved overseas. Simon believes that Olivia and his mum are both now reunited, which gives him some relief and comfort in his sadness that they are together. I've had the great honour to meet online with Olivia's family and close friends over the last week. And it's with great respect and a joy that I say what an extraordinary life Olivia has lived and what a beautiful being she was. Olivia's huge smile was contagious and her big heart touched many people very deeply. Only 2 months ago you were celebrating Olivia's 40th birthday party online, and now in very stark contrast, it's Olivia's unexpected death in the accident last week that brings you together. There will be times of questioning, why Olivia, why now? Leaning into the unknown can be scary, and grief can vary from feeling devastated, lost, to an uneasy numbness. And it's important for you to be kind with yourself, to be present here today, and to continue to reach out. With COVID-19, these were already challenging times, and even as the regulations are changing, for Simon in LA with his young family and Elizabeth in New Zealand, it's been a huge heartache, not being able to hug, to be close to one another physically. It's a big strain on how we might grieve and share loss. Yet we can be here in this way to celebrate. Sure, it's not the same, and yet together we create a beautiful space to celebrate Olivia and all that she's given to life. We know some of you struggled with the idea of coming online for a ceremony, and some of you were already challenged being on your own at home. So just a few ideas that I talked about with the family on how to take care of yourself while we're here together, where many feelings and emotions can surface. If you're starting to feel a bit overwhelmed, you might want to connect with your body. Feel your feet on the ground, or connect with your breathing. And as you connect with the breathing, feel the life within you, the life within us, which can help for you to feel connected to all of us here. Another way of grounding is just to place a hand over your heart. And this gesture may help to soothe and calm your body and your heart. Also, if anyone does feel overwhelmed and is thinking of leaving the ceremony early, we invite you, if you'd like to talk with someone first, then send our support person, Deborah, a private message in the chat, and she'll organise to go to what's called a breakout room with you for a short while. So if you'd like to use that option, again, click on the chat room and look for support, Deborah. Olivia's death in the accident has been a huge shock for so many that it still feels quite surreal for the family. Olivia's family would like to take a moment to acknowledge the driver of the other vehicle, saying there's no one to blame. And they send their heartfelt love and empathy to the driver and his family. It must be an incredible heartache for them too that they recognise. These are hard times, so let us be courageous and present no matter what comes. Simon has asked that I light a candle to start the ceremony, and I know many of you have also lit candles at home. As I light this candle, you might wish to reflect upon how Olivia's light has touched your life. The things that Olivia said, or that made you laugh, or possibly cry. Her quirky ways that you'll miss, allowing whatever is here to be felt, just as it is. And if that feels a bit hard, you might just want to bring your hand and rest it over your heart and connect with your breath. So may this light, which shines brightly, remind us of Olivia's bright way of being in this world, and the light that shines within each of us. The family have put together a small tribute that they'd like me to offer here now about Olivia's life. We shall start at the beginning, on the 3rd of March, 1980, when Olivia came into this world, not surprisingly in a very quiet and gentle way. It's said that she didn't cry once in those first few weeks. Having Simon as an older brother soon changed that, and it wasn't long before she was one of the boys running around the property. Their older stepsister Liz would often take both Simon and Olivia out on picnics and adventures where they lived on the north coast. Olivia's gentle way, her ability to be wild and courageous, and her love of nature continued throughout her life. Olivia and Simon had a relatively happy childhood as their mum Janice was very easygoing. It wasn't without its trials. When they were still quite young, their dad and their stepsister Liz moved back to New Zealand. They missed their older sister a lot. Liz came back a few times and Olivia would always follow her around like a lost puppy. Liz encouraged her to join a local group of walkers when she was in her early 20s. And Liz recalls her saying it was like she had found her tribe. She just loved going bush, camping, and the higher the mountain, the greater the joy. It was in her mid-20s that Olivia started to experience some health problems that saw her in a long period of healing and convalescence, and also meant that she could no longer have children. It was a dark period in her life that, with the support of her closest family, she came through with a greater strength and a sense of purpose. Olivia became conscientious with her diet and health, which she shared passionately with those around her. Simon said sometimes it was annoyingly so. However, with her generous heart of providing everyone with a supply of organic buckwheat croquettes and the random but most welcome surprise of a vegan chocolate brownie, she was loved for her enthusiasm for good food. Olivia also went on to become a devout yoga student and gained her qualification to work in a local real estate agent with her dear friend Kate, who'd offered her a position with Kate's new company. We'll hear from Kate a bit later on. Olivia spent the last 10 years going from strength to strength and being a person who loved talking to people and getting outdoors. Working in real estate was the perfect work for her. She was creative, innovative, and found ways to work with the problems that arose with a smile and brought a light to many people's lives, who I know are deeply grateful for all that she did. During this time, her mum, Janice, died after a very short illness, and that rocked Olivia's boat once again. She headed over to LA and spent some time with Simon and Jess and meeting baby Ella, before wandering on the overland track and making some great friends who are also at this ceremony today. Olivia was very connected to little Ella, reading stories and dancing with her every week, sending lots of photos of her dogs doing random things. Aside from wanting to save every homeless dog, which her own two fur puppies, Jenkin and Russell, were not so keen about doing, Olivia became involved in a few local children's charities and support groups. She worked tirelessly, fundraising and creating opportunities that saw many young people's dreams manifested. One of Olivia's dreams was to travel to New Zealand and spend some time with her sister Liz, and as you'll hear in a moment, they fulfilled one of her dreams together. Wherever she went, she climbed all the mountains and walked all the valleys that were nearby. Her list of national parks she had visited was impressive. As a family, they've shared many stories, and yet the same story thread keeps flowing through it all. Olivia gave them the gift of her friendship, her bright shining light. She bridged the gaps between people, and she was often the glue that brought them together, giving them the gift of each other. Olivia's authenticity meant that everyone knew the same Olivia. She was genuine in her way and wasn't afraid to be herself, warts and all. This was a quote that Olivia often referred to by an unknown author. Dance like no one is watching. Work like you don't need the money. Sing like no one is listening. And live like heaven on earth. What transpired to be the final years of Olivia's life has been truly wonderful times shared with family and friends, rich with love and respect. A very gentle yet adventurous being, someone who loved the good things in life and had her own path to follow. I'd like to thank the family for writing that tribute. I'd now like to invite Simon, Olivia's older brother, to speak. Thank you, Simon.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, everyone, for joining us to celebrate my beautiful baby sister, Olivia, who was taken from us far too soon. I know that I'm still in shock at how suddenly we have lost her, but I have to believe that her glorious spirit lives on with us all. I send the apologies of my partner, Jessica, my 3-year-old daughter, Ella. We've just welcomed a new baby son, who we named Hudson. I know that Olivia was so excited to meet him in real life, and I'm devastated that she will never get to hold him. Jessica's nursing Hudson, so is unable to join the call, but she wanted to make sure that I sent her love to all of you. I do have our dog, Babs, over here, who Olivia was very fond of, so I'll bring her in because I know, as you all do, that Olivia was obsessed with her fur babies, and I know she'd love that Babs is here. Thank you to Sarah. Thank you for taking in Russell and Jenkins. I know Olivia would be just so relieved and so happy to know that her boys are in your care. Nobody else could take care of them like her the way that you can, so thank you. Although Olivia and I talked almost every day, it had become difficult to see each other more than once a year due to our growing families and, of course, distance. I came to LA to pursue my career as a screenwriter 7 years ago. Olivia and I used to always write little shows together and record them first on cassette tapes and then eventually on video when we got a camera one Christmas. She always really championed me and couldn't have been more supportive. We used to love recreating music videos of Countdown when we were kids. Music was a huge bond for us. I'd often find my albums or cassettes, or later on CDs, hidden in her room. She was such a little sneak. I don't think I ever got my Wham or Pseudo Echo albums back, by the way. Livy used to carry her strawberry shortcake doll with her everywhere, and she was just always so caring and nurturing and maternal. So finding out that she couldn't have kids of her own was devastating for all of us, but she has been the best auntie and puppy mummy ever. I don't know if all of you know how Olivia got her name, but the truth is that I begged Mum to name her Olivia after Olivia Newton-John, who I was obsessed with after her song Let's Get Physical came out when I was 4 years old. I made sure that my Olivia was equally as big a fan of ONJ. So I wanted to share a little bit of one of her songs that we both loved in honour of my Livy. Maybe I hang around here a little more than I should. We both know I've got somewhere else to go. But I've got something to tell you that I never thought I would. And I believe you really ought to know. I love you. I honestly love you. I love you, Livy.
Thank you, Simon. I'd like to invite Olivia's and Simon's stepsister, Sarah, to say a few words. Thanks, Liz.
Well, that's a bit of a hard act to follow. Can you hear me? Okay. Well, some of you might not know me. I'm Simon and Olivia's much older, as you can see, stepsister. Our father, Pete, had soul care for me after my mother died, also at an age far too young. He met Janice a few years later, and they moved in together, and I was with them for quite a while. Janice and Dad split up not long after Simon and Olivia were born, and I moved back to New Zealand. I don't know if you can remember this, Simon, but I did have a bit to do with you growing up. I was quite a cheap babysitter, and Janice and I always got on very well. So because I was old enough to make choices, my involvement in the family remained. But then I did meet the love of my life and moved again to a remote place in New Zealand. We stayed in touch. We didn't often see each other, but we were close. And Olivia and I don't mean this, Simon, anyway, to negate the relationship I have with you, but Olivia and I, we just had a connection. And we might not see each other for years, but we would sit and have dinner, and it could last for hours. Simon and I have been in touch this week. It's been really tough, but it's also been a wonderful opportunity, and I've really appreciated it, and I think you have too. And I can't wait for a cuddle of those babies. With her love of the outdoors, Olivia and I were lucky enough, and this is a beautiful memory. 4 years ago now, we rode the Otago Rail Trail together. Anyone from New Zealand might know that. It's about a 4-day cycle tour along disused railway lines, and we know Olivia liked her food, and so she adored the farmers' wives provide the food along the way, and she got to eat the great big cheese scones and looked forward to them heartily every day, while I got to drink her share of the Pinot Noir at night. Oh, Olivia, thank you for including me in the very special journey that was your life. E whakamaumaha rātanga ki te aroha kia mātou. With love, we remember.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you. Yes, it's been very heartwarming to connect with both you and Simon this last week, and I can, there were so many stories there that you had to share. It's been very beautiful to hear. I'd like to invite Olivia's best friend, Sarah, to say a few words.
Hi, I made a few notes because it's going to be hard for me to get through this, so I'll be referring to those. Simon, Liz, and I have literally cried a river together this last week. I feel both empty and full, and none of this makes much sense. I've known Liz and Olivia and Simon for most of my life, and to be honest, I never imagined anything like this would ever happen, and I guess none of us do. It's strange how you think you're going to spend together forever, and every day I keep on looking at my phone, expecting one of the funny text messages or a picture of Jenkins and Russell, who, like Simon said, is here with me right now, so I feel like I have her still. They're very much missing her. She was my sister in so many ways, a source of inspiration and adventure and courage. She was always happy to share vulnerability with me, and I admired her spirit. She loved the works of poets David White and John Donahue, and I'd like to share this abridged version of the poem by John Donahue called On the Deathbed of the Beloved. Though we need to weep your loss, you dwell You dwell in that safe place in our hearts where no storm or night or pain can reach you. Your love was like the dawn brightening over our lives, awakening beneath the dark, a further adventure of colour. Let us not look for you only in memory, where we would grow lonely without you. You would want us to find you in presence, beside us when beauty brightens, when kindness glows, and music echoes eternal tones. When orchids brighten the earth, darkest winter has turned to spring. Make this grief flower with hope in every heart that loves you. May you continue to inspire us to enter each day with a generous heart to serve the call of courage and love. I love you, Olivia. Thank you.
I love you, Sarah. Thank you.
Love you.
Thank you, Stefan. I'd like to invite Olivia's Auntie Sue to say a few words.
Thank you, Wendy, and hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know, I live in a ramshackle house that backs onto a state forest up on the mid-north coast. And while Simon and Olivia were growing up, they would spend each year about a week or two with me up here. One memorable year, we also had Liz, and a few years we were joined by Sarah. Our memories of Olivia, well, she loved the bush, and she was the only one of the kids who didn't whine that I don't have a pool, because she loved our waterhole, swimming in our waterhole, which we called, the kids christened the magic pool. And of course she lived for the beach. She was a Piscean, loved the water. And Simon, I think you'll remember the day when you and Livy were down at the magic pool having a competition on the rope swing, who could make the biggest splash, who could fly the highest, and you had done or said something that made Olivia laugh so hard that she forgot to let go and slammed into a tree, dislocating her collarbone. She was so brave. She didn't cry, and we only realised, you did, and you were hysterical, and we only realised how badly she was injured when we fished her out and laid her on the bank, and that's when you fainted. That was a big day for Auntie Sue, I can tell you. Olivia's passion for property came out at an early age with the endless Monopoly games we would play when it was raining, and it rained a lot, or it did back then. She could be ruthless, and there were some fights, a few tears, some bruises and slammed doors, but normally things would settle down when Auntie Sue threatened to smack or to take away afternoon tea or dessert. Simon mentioned how Olivia came to be named, and I was begging his mother to name her something windswept and interesting like Tawanda, and wasn't impressed when I found out that it was Olivia. But my sister had it right, because I did a little bit of research, and Olivia comes from the Latin for olive tree. So I talked to a friend who grows olive trees, and as it turns out, they're just like our girl. They're very hardy. They're drought and frost resistant. They're beautifully distinctive, he said, and they get on with things. He said, olive trees know who they are and they get on with things. And that was our girl. No matter what life threw at her, she, with dignity, dealt with it and rather than challenges making her harder, they made her a kinder and more compassionate person. And unfortunately, tragically for us and for our girl, she, like the olive tree, will remain evergreen. I just wanted to say, Simon and Liz and Sarah, my heart is broken like yours, but my arms and my home will always be open to you. And Simon, you go give those kids the biggest hug in the world. I love you all.
Love you too.
Thank you. Thank you. And now cousin Natasha. Natasha wanted to share a poem. She was Janice's younger sister, Olivia's auntie, Helen, doesn't want to be on the screen today, so Natasha's going to speak on her behalf.
Hi everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Simon, my mum and I, we all chose this first verse from a poem written by Anne Bronte that I'd like to read. Farewell to thee, but not farewell to all my fondest thoughts of thee. Within our hearts they still shall dwell, and they shall cheer and comfort me, O beautiful and full of grace. We love you, Libby, and we always will.
Thank you, Natasha. It's so incredibly hard to read, and I'm so grateful that you're here today.
Thank you, Natasha. That was beautiful.
I'd like to invite Olivia and Simon's godmother, Mary, to say a few words.
Hello, everybody. Simon, so sorry. I've known Simon and Olivia for most of their lives, though I wasn't always nearby. Janice and I were lifelong friends, and she adored Simon and Olivia. I was so honoured when she chose me to be their godmother. I love that they called me auntie. Liz, their older sister, was a big part of their life in the early years before she moved back to New Zealand with her dad. Liz, heartfelt sympathy. Growing up with Simon and all his mates around, Olivia learnt to tackle and fight with the best of them. She wasn't afraid of adventure, and I remember she would just jump into the fray with her little arms and legs flailing wildly. I loved her wild spirit, which stayed with her into a gorgeous young woman. Her love of being in wild places drew her out into nature time and time again. I think it was her saving grace through heartache and challenges she faced. Simon, I love you and your family so much and can only imagine how sad you must be. I know Olivia would tell us to get outside, take her beloved dogs and go for a long trek and camp out under the stars. I've been going outside every night and looking up at the beautiful stars and having a good cry, wagging my finger at her like she used to wag her finger at me. I love her to the stars and back. I'll miss her always. I love you very much, Simon, Liz, Sarah.
We love you too.
Thank you, Mary. I'd like to invite Lynette Maxwell, who's a very dear family friend as well.
Hello, everyone. My name's Lianne. I was very fortunate to meet Simon and Jess not long after they moved to LA, and we Aussies have to stick together. So I was very honoured to be part of their life. I never got to meet Olivia in person, but in this new world, we're all connected, and we often talked on FaceTime. I even got to dance and sing in the kitchen when they were having chats with Ella and with the dogs. I really loved, Simon, how you all stayed together as a family. It was an inspiration, and Olivia called weekly so she could talk to Ella, which was lovely. I also know that she used to read stories to Ella, just to keep connection. She was a very gentle person, but she was also, you could tell she was a very funny person. So I'll miss those things, and I'm sending lots of love to you, and know that we're here for you. It's a difficult time.
Thank you, Beauty. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. And it's those little things that families will miss. It's Olivia ringing up, talking to Ella and the kids, you know, just having that conversation. It's those very small things that you look out for. That, yeah, we hold you in that pain, Simon. We're going to look at a slideshow that the family have put together, a photo reflection of a few photos that will help us remember the stories that we love Olivia by.
All I can explain is that all my words don't mean a thing. No, I can't contain it. I know I'm falling in it. It's crazy, I can't help it. All of my thoughts just turn to you, and I don't deserve it, but I've just got to be there by your side. Just wait for me, let's catch this ride. Oh yeah. Now I'm wandering around with my head in the clouds on my way to you, wondering why I've been so blind on my way. 'Cause I feel like
I'd like to invite Kate, Oliver's manager at the real estate agent, to say a few words. Okay, let's see. Kate, if you're on the call, if you would be able to unmute yourself. It seems that we have, maybe she's left the call for now, left the ceremony. So I'd like to invite John, Olivia's friend, to speak.
Thank you, Wendy. We met Olivia when selling our business 8 years ago. What a joyful, helpful young woman she was. Nothing was ever too much trouble for her. My wife, Jean, who unfortunately can't be here today, and Olivia shared a passion for dogs. And I think in some way we became grandparents to her. Jean, in particular, reached out at the time your mother died, Simon. Jean would invite Olivia around for a cup of tea, and they just talk together. And sometimes she'd just drop by our place to see how we were. She shared her troubles as well as her joys, and it slipped into an extremely friendly relationship for all of us. She was like a granddaughter to us, and we both miss her terribly.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John and Jean. I was able to speak with both of them this week, and I know how close you were to her. It looks like Kate has left the call, but I just want to share something of what she shared with me around the working relationship. She was the manager at the real estate agent where Olivia worked, and the whole agency sends all their love to you, Simon and Liz. They just said what a joy she was to work with. She had this quirky way of arriving in the morning, and she, you know, most days bring in fresh flowers, and sometimes they'd all go down for a walk. She'd go back and get the dogs at lunchtime, and it was just one of the things I really enjoyed, was her just friendly, kind way of being. And as John says, she just really connected with the clients that came her way. We also have a lovely message. Sandy, her beautiful neighbour in Sydney, wasn't able to come to the ceremony today unexpectedly. And she wrote, and I'll read, "As you know, Simon, we've been through our own loss, and now Olivia's death has come as a huge shock to us all. There's no quote I could offer that can take away the pain that you feel, no words to make this easier. May the people around connect with you by listening to your pain, holding your hand, or simply writing love letters of care and understanding. Our love is with you and your family." Yeah. Thank you, Simon. This last week has felt very surreal and disorientating for many. In this gathering as a community, we come together as family and friends to foster that sense of belonging, of caring, of bringing our presence to the loss and also to the celebration of Olivia's life. Later this afternoon, Olivia's body will be cremated. I conducted a private ceremony online for Olivia's immediate family this morning while I was at the crematorium and they were online. We took a photo of Olivia's coffin this morning at the crematorium, which the family would like to share with you now while we listen to one of her favourite songs that Simon wrote and sang. So please join me now in going and finding a silent wish or blessing for Olivia in your hearts. You may wish to pray for her silently or wish her well according to your own faith. And after the song, Simon and Sarah will also offer a blessing as Olivia's body will be cremated this afternoon. Speaking with Simon, Liz and Sarah in preparation for today, as you can imagine, there were lots of tears, but also so much gratitude for Olivia's life and all that she gave. Olivia's family would like to offer this reading of gratitude.
Olivia, you have shared many things with us. You have inspired us and delighted us. You have excited us and thrilled us. We have laughed and cried together.
I loved how you lived life. We all did. We remember with gratitude your deep love for me, your family, your friends, your fur babies, and community.
I don't think I can do this rest of this bit. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you. I'll read on your behalf. We will remember your sense of adventure, your fun and generous heart, your respect and care that you showed towards everyone you met.
We will be reminded of your love of the stars and the night sky, of early mornings and colourful sunrises. We have a few big mountains to climb, and we ask that you guide the way.
We will be encouraged by remembering your joyful willingness and enthusiasm, your quiet achievements and loving support.
Our hearts ache, yet we're so grateful that you have been a part of our lives May you travel safely into this next part of your journey, Olivia. Our love goes with you.
Thank you. Simon and Sarah and Liz, we've many people who have joined us here today for the ceremony, and there's likely to be many guests today that you won't know. And if we'd been gathered in person, they would have come up and introduced themselves to you and said hi and let you know how they'd known Olivia. So I'd just like to invite the family to take a moment to look at the gallery view of your screen and just scroll through the different pages. There's quite a few people here today. And if those family and friends that are here, if you bought some flowers or a special memento or photo, if you could please hold them to your screen as the family say hi, or you can just wave hello. Thank you. Thank you for everyone for being here together in the spirit of deep listening and warm-hearted presence. To Simon, Liz and Sarah and all of Olivia's family, we offer our love. If you haven't had a chance yet, you might wish to write a message of love and care for Olivia's family into the chat room. All the messages of your support and love will be sent to them after the ceremony. This time is important that we take care of everyone here by being gentle and kind with ourselves. We might be distanced physically, however, we can stay very closely connected by offering each other our attention, our deep listening and care when we do connect over the phone or online. The family are planning to open another Zoom call for everyone who would like to gather. It will be hosted by Simon and Olivia's uncle, so you can continue to share stories and share music. As we close the ceremony, I'm just inviting everyone, if there's a feeling or thought that you will hold close to your heart that might support you in the coming days or weeks, if there's any one or two words that you might take away with you from the ceremony, what might they be? And I'd just like to invite you to unmute yourself and just speak to those.
I'll always remember what a lovely girl she was.
I'll always remember her beautiful, adventurous spirit and her beautiful laugh.
What will keep me going is the sense of loving connection that we've all shared here today. Thank you.
I'm remembering a love for dogs and that unconditional love and gratitude. Hi from Barry.
Hi, Barry.
I want to send love to Russell and Jenkins from my dogs, because we walked with Olivia in the park quite often, and we're very sad for Russell and Jenkins, and we hope we see them soon.
I hope that wherever you are, darling, that you can go for a swim. And Natasha, you let Mum know, remind her to let her know that I'll give her a call later on today, darling.
You would love that. My mum and I, we will always remember how adventurous Olivia was, and how she would always get us to go outside and go hiking with us, and she would show us all the best spots to go.
I guess I'll never live down the fact that she was always a much better cricketer than me. Yeah.
I will. The night sky will just never be the same.
I'll remember her every day taking the babies on a walk and tell them every day how special their mama was.
Can I say that where I live, we have beautiful night skies, and every evening when I look up at the stars and they're so clear, I'll think of Olivia.
Can I just say
loving and
whoever was speaking, we'd love to hear from you. Lynn, maybe you could go afterwards. Thank you. But whoever was just speaking, that would be lovely to hear from you.
Thank you, Wendy. It's her loving and friendly nature will always remain with me. Thank you. And all the best to Olivia's family. My heart goes out to all of you.
Thank you, Debbie. Thank you. And Lynn, if you would like to speak.
I just wanted to say how wonderful to be part of this ceremony, even though everyone is so far apart, you're all very close, and it's a lovely tribute to her. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. I said it in the chat to everyone already. I know I said it at the beginning. I didn't actually expect to be quite as overwhelmed by this as I have been, but I really can feel your genuine love, care and connection to her. And I just want to thank you all so much for being here, just taking your time out in these unusual circumstances and just connecting through our shared love for Livy. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you. And I'd like to invite Liz, if you could get your glass ready, if you have one nearby. Liz, if you would like to offer the toast. Thank you.
Aloha atu, aloha mai, kia tote rangi marie. Give love, receive love, go in peace. Here's to you, darling.
Go in peace.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Love to Olivia.
I chose Malibu and pineapple because it was the she ever drunk when she was 16, and it still tastes as dreadful as I remember it.
You had a few stories along that line, didn't you, Sarah?
Just a couple. I can't. I shouldn't.
No, I know. Thank you. In a moment, we are going to close the ceremony, and as Simon has said and Liz, they're just so grateful for your presence here today. In a moment, Olivia's photograph will come up onto the screen and with a favourite track of music of hers. And the family have also left a message of thanks and some information about support services that are available if you need them. On behalf of Olivia's family, go gently, find the support you need at this time. Ring your friends and family, climb a mountain and check out the stars at night. Listen to a track of your favourite music or find a fur puppy to snuggle up to, as Olivia would have done. Thank you for being here today. May peace be with you. Thank you.
You know it's okay, we all have those days where you feel like you just don't belong. You gotta hold on, you gotta stay strong. You're going to find your own way.